kind of piggyback off of that, you know, when it comes to the final negotiation process, you spend a lot of time playing the waiting game on their end, so it's okay to actually have them play the waiting game back. So, you know, definitely say, you know, that sounds great, let me sit on it for a day, or let me get back to you a little later on. You know, I would say from my perspective, no more than 24 hours. If it's like in the middle of a week, if it is a Friday, definitely take the weekend. And then as Michael Spangle and Myra Eisenhart, I'm not making a plug for negotiation, communication for diverse settings. One of the best things that they say when it comes to negotiating salary, if you hear them say, how much do you want to earn? The best answer to give them is, quote, a specific number depends on many factors. I'd like to hear about in all aspects of the job and the compensation package before getting too specific.
And my response to that question when they ask you how much you want to make is there's an old rule of negotiation that says he who speaks first loses. And so what I always have clients do is I ask them to ask what is the salary range. And as an old HR person, I can tell you this, the salary range can be anywhere from 20 to 40,000 from start to finish. And normally what people do is they will not hire people at the top end who are recent college grads, but they will hire you someplace upwards of starting entry-level salary to the midpoint. So if a salary range is, say, 30 to 70,000, you're hoping that they're not going to offer you 30. But you're also hoping, and you've already done your homework, but you're also realistic that you may not have the 5 years of experience that they would pay for somebody at 70. And HR people want people to have room to grow and get raises. So normally people are not hired at the very top end of the salary range. But if you can get midpoint, that's a good starting point. And so I just asked for the range. And then I asked them what they were planning to offer for the position of my skills. And I literally did this when we moved back from LA to Seattle. I actually said to my soon-to-be boss, he said, well, what would you like to make? And I said, well, what would you like to pay me? And he offered me $6,000 more than I was going to ask for. And that was a lot of money. And it made a big difference. And it was much easier to say yes. So sometimes you can be pleasantly surprised. So I negotiated for time off without pay because I had a consulting contract back in LA I wanted to finish. So I didn't negotiate for money in that case because he paid me more than I was going to ask for. So I thought I'll ask for more vacation and some time off without pay to do consulting.
Is there a better time to bring up money in the conversation, in the interview? When does that kind of happen?
I would say never talk of salary or money. I mean, this is just from my perspective, but never during the actual interview process, because there's still other people that they may be interviewing or talking to. You definitely want to wait until there's actually been an offer made before you start talking salary and negotiating. Because if you begin talking about money right off the bat, a lot of people in the profession kind of look down on that because then they think that you're in this job strictly for the money rather than the actual, you know, development and experiences that you can obtain from the job that you are trying to get into.
I also just wanted to add to that. I think that that's very true, especially when you're coming right out of school. However, if you're in a position of being recruited away from something and you have a significant amount of experience, I have seen that it actually comes up before the interview process ever really starts.
offer, if it is significantly lower than what you thought it would be, and they're not willing to get you where you wanna be, then be willing to walk away from that. And, you know, maybe them knowing that you are willing to walk away will induce them to give you more, and maybe they'll let you walk away, and that's okay. And then you'll get a job offer that gives you something that equals your worth.
Well, the only thing that I'll add that I think is a little bit different is on-campus interviews will often include a kind of a closing session with the hiring manager to see if you have any questions. And I don't necessarily think that at that point it's inappropriate to just say, I've really enjoyed my time. I'm curious if you could answer one question for me about possibly the salary range. What I've noticed as an increasing trend, which I think is really smart on the behalf of hiring managers, is they're actually offering a range before they invite you onto campus and asking to confirm that that is a range that would work for you. And they're doing that very politically, right? So that when you say, so you can't go above that range because before we even brought you to campus, they asked you and you said, this is something that would work for me. And so it's a really smart tactic, right? Like I don't want to fly somebody across the country for them to say like, oh, I needed twice that much. Right? It just doesn't make sense. So sometimes you won't even be required to bring that up. Some folks will be bringing it up for you.
Susan, would you add anything to that?
I think it's important to make sure that people know you want the job and it's not all about the money. And so I really encourage you to tell them, I'm really excited and interested about this position. And I'm more interested in having somebody say to me, what are the next steps in the process? And I'm turned off with people that want to talk about money and benefits, because I only want people to work for me that really want the job for the job itself. And so I just think when they make an offer, or when you can ask about salary range if you're clueless, but most of you should have done your homework, so I don't think that's going to be the issue. The other place I will say is a lot of jobs are posted with a salary range, and especially state jobs. So, there's some legal requirements for posting state jobs. So a lot of times you can find jobs for comparable positions and get a salary range off that.